Playoff video here, playoff video analysis, kind of going over two of the bigger games that had happened. If there's a little background noise, I'm watching the Miami-Florida State game coming down to the last minute. Miami's trying to tie it up. See how this game ends. But open division, playoffs, it's essentially the semifinals because it's four teams, and obviously there's going to be two games to decide who's going to play in the final. The first game was Granite Hills Carlsbad. I was there live, was there in attendance, and going into it, and again, I had a video, it was posted either the last video I had or two videos ago, was talking about basically that whole ordeal in terms of what I thought was going to happen, my predictions, what I had thought and analyzed with both teams on what type of team they were and how I thought that it would play out when they played against each other. And if I could recall, because I haven't watched that past video and I don't necessarily remember what I said in a while, but I believe that it was an even matchup in terms of players on Granite Hills and players on Carlsbad were very comparable to one another. And what do you know? It turned out to be a double over. Was it double overtime? I think it was a double overtime win. And both teams just went back and forth. However many lead changes. Came down to some big kicks with special teams. Shout out to both kickers. Both of them played awesome. There were just really, really big plays made from both sides. And normally in a matchup like that, the team that commits the most mistakes or the most turnovers end up losing. In theory, that happened, but I believe that the turnover, which was, I think it was a lone interception that Julian Sain threw, happened to be the only turnover of the game, and Carlsbad lost. But again, I say in theory because I don't believe that interception was instrumental in having an effect with Carlsbad losing. I thought the reason why Carlsbad lost, if anything, and it's hard to nitpick, again, because the game was so close, but I would say conservative play calling. But again, it's hard because all these plays and all these schemes that Carlsbad was playing offensively and defensively were causing stops and scoring touchdowns. But here's why I say the reason why Carlsbad had lost a step against Granite was because of the play calling and being too conservative. You have a 5-star quarterback committed to Alabama on your team. Potentially, this is senior season, potentially his last game. He's arguably the best player on that team, and I say arguably because Carlsbad has some really good players in different spots of the team. Skill position, running back, some defensive guys are really solid. I would argue that Sain's the best player on the team. If you're going to have him on your team and have his abilities, that is just really once in a generation. Like, it's going to be another 15, 25 years till they have another good quarterback, maybe on his level, maybe longer. You're not going to have Julian Sains walking around town to play for your team for a long time. Use him. I need to look up the stats, but I think they only threw the ball like 18 to 20 times. That's not enough. I get it. They run a pro-style offense. It's not enough. I get it. They have Mason Walsh, just a reliable back that's able to get chunks of yards and get first downs and play clock control and all this. But it's not enough times. Julian Sain to throw the ball. 18 is not enough. That's my only knock against Carlsbad. And just the result that had happened in my takeaway and conclusion from that game is that they needed to have Julian Sain throw the ball more. The times he did, they were money. They were completed. And yes, I get it. The run set those plays up. But if you had him just sit back and rip a few, 10 to 12 more passes, that could make a difference with quick scores, with momentum, with Granite Hills needing to change up their defense, then that might be able to open the run back up. What do I know though? That's just my opinion. Granite Hills, on the other hand, looked hungry, and they took the win. They took that win away from Carlsbad. Mind you, Granite Hills was the away team. They're the lower seed, and they come in winning against a great team that has shown CIF finals written all over them all this year, and I believe that they were ranked 1 or 2 the whole year. Granite Hills went up there and took it from them. Hostile environment. Crazy. A lot of things going on. Granite Hills is stoic, just going in there and taking their hearts and eating it. Granite Hills has the two-headed monster. It's really insane how good these two players are. Number 1, Sanchez. And then number 30, Turner. Granite Hills coaches also, I believe, get a ton of credit for being able to put their freshman inexperienced quarterback in spots to be able to make plays, execute, and not rush or be panicky during moments of the game where there might be a pressured throw or a pressured play he has to make. But shout out to him himself for just having ice in his veins. The kid's 14 years old, basically needing a waiver to play varsity CIF. Like, he's out here going to the CIF championship in his first year of varsity football. He was just in middle school last year. Granite Hills defense is extremely good, but Carlsbad's offensive line, I think, neutralized them, which should give a lot of credit to Carlsbad and their O-line. It doesn't matter anymore because they're eliminated, but I believe Granite Hills O-line or defensive line is going to really make an impact this next game into the winner of the Lincoln Helix game, which I'm going to explain in a little bit. But Granite has some really good defensive backs. Linebackers, solid, but not anything out of the ordinary. I'm really impressed with Granite Hills, number 20. Good-looking player, big kid, only a junior, I believe. Crazy. Granite Hills has the complete team. They got skill position players that can make plays on the perimeter. Number 2, I think it's a baseball kid. He's a junior as well. They got dudes. They're gonna be really good next year, but I'm really excited for the final game. They're going into another championship game. Shout out to Granite Hills. Awesome job for them, man. That was just an awesome game. Went down to the wire. The game-winning swinging gate, running fly sweep out of swinging gate, takes a lot of guts and nuts. Shout out to Coach Cobbs for that. Shout out to the team for executing. They went in there and took it, and they were more aggressive. I believe that they were beating Carlsbad, beating them up physically. Man, what a game. Shout out to them. Congrats to them for their victory. I'm rooting for them to win the championship. Now, Helix Lincoln. So going into this game, Lincoln is the number 1 seed. Helix is the number 4 seed. I had this impression that Lincoln was just going to go in and play Helix and beat them by 3-4 scores. I really did. I felt Lincoln has the most explosive offense. They have the most formidable quarterback for their system. I believe that Lincoln has the most momentum, being undefeated and haven't lost a game in like 3 years. I believe when all these factors would really, really help the case that they could win big, in my opinion. And because I'm a huge Helix critic, and again, you guys should check out my video, the one I made about Helix, and kind of their response and their loss to Granite during the regular season, but just how I think that type of team and the culture is more in depth. It's an interesting video. Y'all should check it out. But I decided to go there too. That was the day after, which was yesterday from the Granite game. That was the day after. And I had went and attended. Another crazy environment. It was sold out. There was people standing. There was no seats. Great environment. Everybody and their moms, cats, dogs, the picket fence, everybody was there. You know what I mean? So Helix is saved because of their culture. And it's kind of hypocritical for me to say because I thought that initially in the other video I made that their culture has depleted. But Helix's expectation to be able to be in this predicament and not get embarrassed won't ever leave. And that's a good thing because I thought that they were going to get killed yesterday. But it ended up being an extremely close game that ultimately Helix probably should have won. If you look at it in certain points of the game, they probably should have won their game. It's pretty insane to think about. Lincoln ended up winning double overtime, 45-38, I believe. And the game was tied 31-31 in regulation. The highlights are there. The highlights are out there. But, like, it's just really insane how that game was as close as it was. So, like, looking back at all four of these teams, I think it's fair to say that all four of them were really even. And that's good because it causes a lot of parity and it's not a foregone conclusion on what team is better than who. Therefore, it makes things exciting because it makes things unpredictable. I think that Helix was a little bland in their play calling, running inside zone with the 175-pound back 40 times. No counters, no traps. They didn't run QB power from Wildcat. I don't know why. Mix it up. The season's on the line. It's the playoffs. It's single game elimination. I don't know. I'm not DiMaggio Jones, so I don't know why. Rylan Jesse. He ended up making what? He had 3-4 touchdown passes. 2 interceptions weren't really his fault. They were tip drill. To whom much is given, much is expected. I thought that Rylan Jesse underperformed, and I think he's underperformed his whole career at Helix since he played as a freshman in the spring of 2021. That might be a little bit overboard to be able to claim that, but with his ability and his skill set and his talents being way above average, most QBs at his age aren't as good and talented as he is. The problem is his mentality and his aggression, which works hand in hand. Some guys have it, some guys don't. I don't know if he has it mentally to be able to sit there and make throws and to be able to sit there and take a hit to the face trying to deliver and be able to go out, scramble, and make a play for himself even if it's supposed to be in his hands. Having aggression to be able to go out and want to do that is a big deal, and I don't think he even has that. I'm not saying he has to do that. He doesn't have to. The offense and the scheme lets him get away with not needing to be the center of attention because he has a miniature running back carrying the team all the way up to this point to where they almost make it to a CIF Open Division Championship. Without him, without Rylan Jesse, Helix is in the same spot, which is not good to say. It seems like I'm out here saying that he's a scrub. Rylan Jesse is one of the most skilled quarterbacks come out of San Diego in a while. I'm going to put him up there in the top tier quarterbacks with Buckner and Sayin. I'm not saying he's as good as them. I'm not saying who's better, but I'm saying he's in that threshold. He's in that tier. And for him to not be able to have the coaches believe in his throwing ability, and for him to show out the way he does in my eyes, again, this is my opinion, I just think that he underperforms. I don't know. I hope the best for him, honestly. I really do. But you don't have 6'6", 220-pound quarterbacks that have decent athleticism and special arm talent go out there and short arm throws and not be aggressive in his own ability to make plays with his arms or legs. I don't get it. He made good throws that were good enough to be able to tie the game the way it was supposed to be. But I'm just talking about the totality because he's a senior and he graduates and he's gone. He's going to Utah State. But when you look at his career overall, because I've watched him since he was a freshman, just very underwhelming. And that's not good in my opinion, because in high school you should be killing people because at the next level everyone becomes so much better. Therefore, there can't be any doubt in terms of ability and confidence when you're going into playing college football. And to me, there is a lot of doubt and there is a lot of apprehension from his abilities and how and his playing style. Will it translate? I hope so. Otherwise, you're just going to go up there to do nothing because there's other quarterbacks that have that mindset, and the coaches are going to pick them, and they're not going to pick Jesse. That's why there's a level of urgency and there's a level of passion when I talk about this kid, because it's going to get 55,000 times harder when he goes to the next level. That's just a fact. Helix can't win the big game, and everybody knows that. I've already made that clear a long time ago. What's new? Nothing. The pride of East County is not the Highlanders. Forget Reggie Bush and forget Alex Smith and Bill Walton. It's about the Granite Hills Eagles. Kel and Cobb, let's go, man. Shout out to Kel. Kel. Keenan and Kel. Anyway, it's going to be a great game. Lincoln and Granite Hills. They played week 0, blah, 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 whatever. It doesn't matter. This is the real game. Pressure's on the line. Chips on the line. A lot of things to play for in this game. Not just rings. It's going to be very interesting. Lincoln's ready. I'm not concerned with Lincoln. They have all the players that they need. Again, matchup-wise, they're probably a better team. Again. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your team's going to win if you win on the matchup game. I believe that the deflection is Granite Hills coaches are going to outcoach Lincoln's staff. Boom, boom. There you go. Makes things even now. 50-50. Quarterback play. Who's going to make the better plays? Who's going to make mistakes? I think this is Granite's coming out game for their D-line. Being able to put pressure on Achilles Smith Jr. If Achilles Smith Jr. is able to make plays and be comfortable in the pocket, it's going to be a long day for Granite. But if those front four can get after Smith Jr., it's going to be a long night because he's not as athletic as his dad. He can extend the play and make throws, but if you get on him quick and he gets rattled, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. I don't think Lincoln's run game is as solid as I think most people think. They have a great running back and they have a really good O-line. But again, if that can be neutralized by Granite's D-line and their drive and their motor stays the whole game, it's going to make things really interesting. Granite Hill's run game is going to dominate. No one can stop no one can stop that run game. I bet Lincoln has one of the best defenses in the county. But in this game and in this environment with Granite's O-linemen being as big and as physical as they are, this is just going to be a good game, man. I am so excited. This is a great matchup. I'm really still surprised that Granite beat Carlsbad, but I got to make myself realize and understand that Granite Hills is probably a better team than Carlsbad. Going into it, I didn't think that. So that's why it's kind of a trip for me to think like this. It's very interesting. It's very riveting to be able to analyze these things and watch it unfold and unravel in live events, in live sequence. It's going to be a lot of fun. These kids are hungry. These kids want to play. These kids are competing like crazy. And that's all I asked for before the playoffs when I made that prediction video. It's going to be awesome, man. Tune in. I believe it's 7 p.m. at Snapdragon Stadium. If y'all are in San Diego, man, I'm going to be there. Mr. Fantastic. So we're going to see how this all plays out. I'm hoping Granite Hills wins. If I'm going to give a prediction, I'm going to say Granite Hills wins 34-28. 34-27. That's my final. That's what I got. I'm going to make some more playoff prediction videos, man. Tune in for the next one. Leave a comment. I want to get interactive with some of these people about ball down here. If there's anyone that watches, I don't know if there is, but yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate the support. Check in the next one, man. Peace.